chard.
Keep that in like
I need the greens.
Greens could be like.
Make a greens pile. I wonder if we could test these inside right now, like one or like to just see if they sprout before we do a big planting.
Yeah.
Tomatoes. All these up.
So maybe we just need to make a list of what we have. That'll work well this year, and then I want to make a list of what we need.
Okay, so these are all gonna go together in the S's.
Squash?
This is butternut squash. I'm still putting it in the squash bin. We need to restock herbs.
Yeah, we don't really have any. Yeah, we need more.
All right, you guys, it's snowing outside, but it's time to start planting your spring garden now. So let's talk about it. Hey you guys, welcome back to Heartway Farms. Today Julianne and I are getting our minds around all of the seeds that we have and around the spring garden coming up. And this year we have a high tunnel to work with too, right?
Yes.
So first of all, we're just sitting down talking. We haven't even planned what we're gonna talk about, but we are just trying to begin making our lists for what seeds we don't have, what seeds we do have. We just went through all the old seeds that needed to be discarded. We had seeds that didn't come up last year.
Yeah, and that's because they were way too old.
Well, you know, heirloom seeds, I'm not sure. Well,
10
yeah,
years too
some of
old?
them weren't. Those were way, way old. But the Baker's Creek seeds, for some reason, we had a little bit of issue with some of them coming up, some of them not. So sometimes you just have to start over. So that's where we're at this year. We're just kind of doing a fresh start. And beginning right now in the middle of January to plan for our garden next year. I think we both feel like we can improve upon last year's garden.
Yes, the weeds became a big issue last year. They completely overtook most of the garden space. So the first year of gardening was actually okay. I just had issues with watering and that was about it. And there were very minimal weeds. Well, we get mulch delivered multiple times a year for our gardening, and in some of the mulch there must have been some seeds that came in.
Yeah.
And
it
brought a
bad.
jungle.
It wasn't just weeds either. They were thistles and what do they call
bushes and yeah.
bushes that had pricklies on them. It was not good. So and it had to be the mulch. I really don't know what other explanation it would have been.
Hay maybe.
Hay, yeah, it could have been coming from hay and stuff too. But something came in, whether it was hay or mulch or I don't know, water washing them down. I'm not really sure, but they came really significantly into our garden area. So Julianne is in the beginning phase because this is her area of expertise. She's in the beginning phase of researching the most effective methods to kind of start fresh. Last year was kind of a hot mess because you guys saw it. We qualified for the NRCS grant for a high tunnel, which is awesome, but it's huge. And it took so much of our time and energy last summer, which I'm thankful that we did it in the summertime,
yes.
right? I mean, but we did that for weeks, right? Because we did it ourselves.
It definitely took priority over gardening.
So we couldn't plant. Still, we had a very good garden, but it wasn't planned well. And this is nobody's fault. This is just because we didn't have the time and energy to put into it, really. But we have a great space inside our huge high tunnel that has deep bed mulch. The animals and manure have been on there, so it's going to be ready to go this spring, early spring. We're even going to start our seeds out there, aren't we?
I think some of them we're just going to plant directly in the high tunnel.
Just early.
Yes.
Okay.
Just because it keeps it
I'd
warmer.
rather not start a bunch of seeds. It's easier not to if we can help it. But so hopefully we have that under control. But what are some of the methods that you have been researching and checking into and sources for kind of starting fresh with the weeds this year?
So what I'm really looking into this year is the no dig method, of gardening, and that's really where you just put, where you get your ground. It could be grass, mulch, whatever. Not rocks, obviously.
Yeah.
But like
it's good soil underneath.
relatively good soil.
Yeah.
And you just
even weeds.
Yeah, weeds. You just put your cardboard boxes that have been broken down, so it's just flat cardboard boxes over, and then you put your compost or really good soil over top of that, and then you just plant directly into that. And that supposedly chokes out all of the weeds that were below the boxes,
but allows for
the new stuff to eventually, they'll penetrate through the boxes in the bottom, and no weeds, hopefully.
Because of water, right? Because as you water it, it breaks down the boxes and stuff like that.
Eventually, it'll just go back to soil.
Yeah, I saw a real good video from Homesteading family. He was putting in, I can't remember if they called it a kitchen garden or a cottage garden. I can't remember. It doesn't matter. But I have interest in putting in a kitchen garden this year. And the place where we are going to plant, I'm not going to show you right now because it's covered in like 6 inches of snow. But the place where I want to plant it is on the south side of the house out here, right outside our front door, which we don't use our front door very much. It's just kind of like faces the road up there. But I want a small, effective kitchen garden where if we just need something like, I might plant like 2 tomato plants and
like a couple
one cucumber plant, something that is just easy, something that we use on a daily basis where I can just go out and get it. Different herbs that we have, like your basil and your maybe some greens even too.
Yeah, probably some greens. We won't be able to plant them there in the summer just
because it'll be too hot. I could do shade though. I could figure out a shade situation, like a shade cloth or whatever, just on that part, because that does get full sun all day, really. Maybe minus some of the trees, but anyway.
In the summer, it comes over.
So our goal this year is to become more excellent in the area of gardening.
Yes.
Julianne loves doing the gardening, and which is amazing because I don't necessarily love it, but I love what you get from it. But it's a lot of time and effort. But if we can kind of mainstream some of these things so that it doesn't take that much time and effort because we've taken care of the weeds and we've taken care of the soil and all of that, then it's more appealing to put in the effort because it's not such a frustration. But we need to reclaim the land around our high tunnel and around the garden area. And if we do that this year effectively, we should have successful years.
Next year should be much less of an issue with weeds and such.
Yeah.
The soil quality will be better.
Yeah, because we'll keep on putting the compost in there and the manure in there and all of that. But yes, I'm excited to kind of rein it in and claim back, and have an even more successful garden. Yes. Kind of like where you plant it all close to high density garden too. So
instead of spreading, last year what we did was we spread all of our seeds out, like I did, relatively far apart sections from each other of different kinds of plants, and then
left too much room.
I just had too much room. So what I need to do is, even if I don't use 3/4 of the garden space, if I take care of that 1/4 and it yields really well and it produces really well, then I'm happy. Because I'd rather have 1/4 of the portion of the garden really well kept and really producing really well than
have
3/4 of it
okay.
a mess.
Yeah. So kind of focusing in and honing in. So we went through all of our seeds. Last year, Josh stocked up on seeds from Johnny's Seeds. And so far last year, we were really happy with those. So we have all of those. It was time to kind of be done with our Baker's Creek seeds because last year they didn't come up finally.
Yes.
They were telling us that they were done. So we are going to get online now in January, and we have begun making a list of the different varieties of things that we want to add to what we have over here. And I think you and I are in agreement that we're kind of over planting stuff that's just fun, and we want to plant stuff that's practical. However, I want some roses.
We still have some.
That's not edible. Josh makes me plant only edible. Well, they are edible.
They are edible. I make stuff with them.
Julianne does. She makes her own rose water, and other things.
I made
rose petal jelly.
Yeah.
So, and I guess one of our customers from Greece, he said he was really surprised that we have that here in the States. So, but I know you guys, other people do rose petal jelly anyway, but I guess that's a thing.
All the YouTube videos I watched, everyone was not American.
European?
Yeah,
well, apparently.
Canadian, European, somewhere over there.
Okay, so that's it. So anyway, it sold very well here at the farm. But anyway, so we're just beginning to plan. We have already shared with you guys when Josh and I sat down that there is talk, and again, who knows, but there's talk of there being fertilizer shortages and just issues in the supply chain and stuff like that. So I would recommend beginning your planning now. In the middle of January when there's 6 inches of snow on the ground, except for you Texans. Shout out Texas boys. You Texans get to have the sunshine and be in your light jackets like they were their shirts yesterday. Anyway, but for us, we have to start planning now and learning. There's going to be a learning curve, I believe, with this high tunnel. Because we've never done this. We've never had a high tunnel to plant in. And so we do know that we tested it with the sides down in the middle of the summer last year. It got up to 150 degrees. So we do know how hot it can get because we tested it.
And even now, it gets at least 10 to 20 degrees warmer
the other day,
than the outside temperature if it's sunny.
Yeah. The other day, we had a nice sunny day. It was super snowy outside, but it was sunny. And I went into the high tunnel and I had to take my coat off because it was so pleasant in there. And we have the chickens and stuff in there right now, so they're enjoying that warmth on these sunny days when we do have them. So anyway, here we are beginning to put together our plan. This morning we went through our seeds. We discarded stuff that was old and needed to be gone because you know how if you guys are like me, you just have like a seed box and it just keeps on accumulating. So we wanted to be a little bit more organized with it. We discarded the stuff that was old. We have begun making our list of what we want to add to it, and I'm going to get online today and go to Johnny Seeds again because they're great for bulk seeds. And then also Baker's Creek, we like their heirloom seeds, but actually our Rural King also sells organic heirloom Livingston seeds, and I know there's opinions about that, but sometimes it's nice to have things that are accessible and to be able to go and see it in person and pick out what you want. But we are going to hop online and get those things just in case there is any kind of any kind of shortages. It had to be at the beginning of 2020 where seeds were sold out, wasn't it?
Yeah,
time just flies, so you couldn't find seeds, and that's not a good feeling. So it's time to restock. I don't want to stock so much that we have loss. I want to just stock enough, to keep it going. And we do have heirloom stuff. We haven't gotten into. She's done some seed saving.
I did a couple things last year,
like squash and pumpkins and different things, and we did that was successful. But we haven't really gone that route just because time and energy. It's very time consuming and energy consuming. So we haven't gone that route, but I mean maybe down the road we'll see. But yeah, I think so. Overall, we've assessed where we're at. We've got our list going. You're hoping to do potatoes from our potatoes, maybe, right? Mm-hmm. And you want it deep down. She really wants to do sweet potatoes. But you guys, we're zone like 5B. I think we're between. High tunnel. Yeah, we'll see. Mm-hmm. We're between zone 5 and 6 here, because we're just. To give you reference, we're obviously in Illinois, kind of outside of Chicago by like an hour. And so we have to be strategic here. We have to be smart about when we put things in the ground. We have to watch the frost. But this year, we're hoping, we have a little bit more grace with the high tunnel. So it'll be fun to kind of figure that out. Yeah, we'll see. Any other big plans? Any other thoughts? Anything you want to...
I want to do more cabbages than I did last year.
Because we went through them.
Yes, those turned out really well when we went through them. Potatoes, I would do less of an amount, but then get better care of them. Okay. Because I got to them way too late, and then I lost some of them to bugs.
Because we still are eating through our potatoes. We're gauging this year how much we harvested. Like we're kind of assessing how much we harvested and how quickly we go through that. I would say it probably won't. It might last us till spring. It might last us till spring. We'll have to see. Because Josh brought home some potatoes the other day too from work that were just extra. So we'll have to assess that. You did mention a strawberry patch.
Yes, we already have some strawberries under our blueberry plants, but I'd like to transplant those and put them in a spot kind of by the high tunnel down there and just have like an actual strawberry patch where they can have room
so we grow. Can net them so we can just protect them a little better. Where they are now under the blueberry bushes, it's great. But it makes it harder to weed, and it also makes it harder, like you can't net effectively because it's like long and narrow versus like one big area that was a strawberry patch, right? Because we love our strawberries. The kids go out in the morning and just pick them and eat them before we can even get to them. But that's one of my favorite things to have here. Beyond that, I think we are investing, this goes bigger than just garden, but I think we're going to invest in some more fruit trees and get them on the property too. Daddy, Josh, sorry guys, I'm talking to my daughter. Daddy, Josh, he already has a video and showed you guys how he's doing his elderberry starts. And that's exciting because we're going to make a hedgerow with elderberries and get those on our property so we can harvest our own elderberries. Yeah, so there's a lot of planning going on. My advice, my hindsight advice would be to, if you're kind of overwhelmed by the planting and by gardening and where to start and how to begin, is literally just start small and do it well. Because that's what we did at our other two houses before we moved here onto the farm. We just lived in neighborhoods, and I had very successful gardens at both locations because it was manageable. And it's almost like you can plant just as much if you just kind of hone in and you do that high density planting, and you just only plant stuff that you know is going to grow well and that you like to eat. You know, don't waste your time and energy on things that are just like, oh, that's fun. Oh, well, okay, nobody wants to eat it. Yeah, nobody wants it.
Then the chickens get to eat it.
The chickens, so at our house, nothing goes to waste because it goes to chickens. But anyway, so we're beginning this process. I know you all are also beginning this process. Please tell me in the comments below, what are some of your favorite varieties of things? Like, you know, we were just talking, we assessed our tomatoes, and my favorite tomato that my dad plants every year, and he's the one who got us turned on, are the San Marzano tomatoes. And they've made amazing sauce in the past. So tell me, like, what's your favorite tomato variety? What else? I need some good bean varieties, broccoli varieties. Yeah, you guys will have to tell me what you have found is your favorite thing that was kind of a surprise to you of what you like planting. And yeah, I mean, if you guys have made any goofs or any mistakes that we can learn from, you know, feel free to share those in the comments below too. All right, you guys, make sure you hit that subscribe button so you don't miss any of our future content. We appreciate you being here today, and we'll talk to y'all soon.